Okay, so welcome to your first online lesson for specialist maths. Now, we're doing online lessons because for you guys, it's really important to be able to pause videos, follow along at your own pace, take the style of notes that you like to take, and to be able to work independently. Now, in specialists, sometimes we end up doing questions that span for 2 to 3 pages. It's not always the best practice for you to be watching me up on the board. Sometimes you're far better off being able to do things as you like, opposed to having to listen to me talk, especially if you're someone who gets a little bit distracted and maybe you're going to lose your place while I'm up on the board. So this is a really good way for us to work around that issue. Now, a couple of things I want to stress before we start is colour is important. You can see that my book looks like your book. So I've got my margin down the centre, I've got my title that's underlined, I've got my learning goal. Your book should look the same. So if I change colours, it means that I expect you to change colours. If I'm taking notes, I expect your book to look the same. Okay, and I will be checking in our next lesson to make sure that everybody's got this down because it is a really important part of the process. Okay, so let's get started. Now, we're going to be looking at solving 1- and 2-step equations with brackets today. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do that. So our first example is going to look like this. Okay, so when we're solving things like this, there is 2 different ways that you could start this question off and you get exactly the same answer. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to expand. So when I expand this bracket, the 3 is going to multiply the 2k and the 3 is going to multiply the 5. So 3 times 2k will make 6. Will make 6k. And 3 times 5 will make 15. And that's still going to be equal to 9. Now, a couple of things I'd like you to notice here is that I changed colour up there, which means you should have changed colour too. Changing colours is a great way to get your mind to remember different steps because it's like every time you change colours, your brain knows that something new is about to happen. The other thing is that these equal signs are lining up. Now, in your book, you should have your equal signs lining up so that you've got your left-hand side in the same place each time and your right-hand side in the same place each time. Okay, now our next step is that we're going to group our like terms. So I've only got one term here, that's 6k, and the other ones, I've got 2 terms that are just ones on their own. So I'm going to group these together first. Now, our goal is to get everything away from the k. So I'm going to grab this positive 15, and I take it to the other side. When I take it to the other side, it's going to become the opposite. So the opposite of positive 15 is negative 15. Notice again that has changed colours. So what's left on this side is going to be 6k is equal to 9 minus 15 is negative 6. Okay. Next thing I want to move across is this 6 here. Now, the symbol that's between 6 and k is multiply. So when it comes across, it's going to be divided by 6. Now, remember that this is on top, so it's negative 6 divided by 6, not the other way around. That's going to leave me with k is equal to negative 1. Okay, and I finished my question. If I wanted to double check, I could put it back in here and make sure that that's correct. So if I put k back in as negative 1, 2 times negative 1 will make negative 2, plus 5 will make 3, and then 3 times 3 will make 9. So that statement would be true. Okay, we're just going to look at the other way you could have started this question. Now, I prefer to expand every time. I think it stops you guys from making mistakes to have that one clear process. But I know there's someone in the room sitting there saying, oh, I've got a better way of doing this. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the other way you could have started this question, because this 3 is on the outside of the bracket, to get rid of the problem with the brackets, our other option is to move it to the other side. Now, currently it's 3 multiplied by the bracket, so when I take it across, it'll become 9 divided by 3. Okay, so now I've got 2k plus 5 is equal to 3. Now I'm looking at grouping my like terms again. 2k doesn't have another like term, but 5 does have a like term with the 3. So I'm going to grab this one and take him to the other side. Now when I take positive 5 across, it will become negative 5. So 2k is equal to 3 minus 5 is going to make negative 2. Okay, so currently that's what we've got. Next step that I've got is to move the 2 to the other side. So take the 2 across. Currently it's 2 times k. So when I take it across, it's going to be negative 2 divided by the 2. So k is equal to negative 1. Now you can see here that my answer was the same here as it is down here. Okay, so I know that either way that I did that question was correct. It's just how you plan on dealing with the brackets. Now moving forward, I'm only going to be expanding just to save us some time and make it a little bit easier. Okay, so next question we're going to do. 2a. So we're going to be looking at what would have happened if on this side, instead of just having 9, if that also was a k term. So 3 bracket 2k plus 5 is equal to 9k. In maths, it can be really helpful to look at similar examples where you just have one little thing change so that you can see how that adjusts the way that we treat the problem. Okay, so like I said before, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to expand these brackets. So that'll make 6k plus 15 is equal to 9k. Now, this is going to be different because in this step, when we're collecting our like terms, 6k is now a like term with the 9k. Now, I'm taking this one to the other side by subtracting the 6k because I want to move this whole term apart. Over here, when I divided, I was trying to split the 2 apart from the k. Okay, that's different to if I want to take the whole term across. Okay, so now what I've got left is 15 is equal to 3k. Now, it's okay to have the variable or the letter on this side of the equation at the moment because we'll make sure at the very end that we put it back onto the right-hand side. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is take the 3 across. Currently, this is 3 times k, so when it comes across, it's going to be 15 divided by 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5, and that's equal to k. Our last step is to put it on the other side. Now, if in an exam you don't do this, you just leave it like that, you're technically not wrong, but it's just like a semantic thing. In maths, we like to make sure that our setting out is always the variable on the left-hand side and our number on the right-hand side. Okay, so that's that question completed. Question 3. We're going to be looking at what happens when we need to group more than one set of like terms. Okay, so if you've got something that looks like this, we're going to be grouping our like terms. Now, each time, because I like to have my letters end up on the left-hand side, I'm going to capture the one with the letter and take it across. Now, because I'm shifting that whole term, I have to do the opposite to what it currently is. So currently it's minus 4x. So I'm going to be adding 4x to this side. Now, I'm going to do this all in one step. You could do it in 2. I could go to my next step here and I could write 6x plus 4 is equal to negative 2 and then move the 4 across. But you can do it in one step too. I think a lot of you will like to take some shortcuts. So I'm going to take that minus 4 to the positive 4 to the other side by turning it into a minus 4. So now on this side, I've got 2x plus 4, which is going to be equal to 6x, is equal to, equal sign still lining up, negative 2 minus 4 will make negative 6. Okay, now this looks like an easy question that we're able to do. I'm going to take the 6 across by dividing the negative 6 by 6, and that's going to leave me with x is equal to negative 1. Now, we've only got one more example left to do, which is question 4. So now we're going to look at what happens if you've got brackets on both sides and you've got variables on both sides. So if I've got a question that looks like this, My first step is going to be to expand the brackets. So the 2 times the x, the 2 times the 3, 5 times the 2x, 5 times the 4. So 2 times x is going to be 2x, 2 times 3 is going to be plus 6. Okay, at this point, I'd like you, if you're up to this part and you're still listening, stand up in your chair, point at your teacher, shout, "I'm an ostrich," and they'll give you a chocolate. This is only valid for the first person who does this, though. Okay, back to our question. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 4 is going to be 20. Okay, so I've expanded both brackets. Now I can group my like terms again. So first thing I'm going to grab is my 10x. I'm going to take him to the other side by subtracting 10x. I'm going to take the 6 from this side, take it to the other side by subtracting 6. Now I'm going to look at what I've got left. So 2x minus 10x will make negative 8x. It's going to be equal to 20 minus 6 will give me 14. Next thing that I can do is I can grab the negative 8, take it to the other side by dividing by 8. And I'm going to be left with x is equal to, now I can see that these both have a common factor of 2, which means I can divide both of them by 2 and they give me a nice whole number or an integer. So 14 divided by 2 is going to be 7, and 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. And the negative is typically shown on the top. If you put it on the bottom, though, again, you wouldn't be wrong. It's just semantically not what we like to commonly do. Okay, and that's it. Now you can start doing the questions that are outlined in your term planner. Now, once you've completed a set of questions and you've checked the answers using either the back of the textbook to just double check quickly that you're correct, or you know there's an error, so you want to see the longer solutions and you'll need to go to eLearn to view those. Once you've done that, you know they're correct, highlight it on your planner so that each lesson we can see how much you are completing. Okay, and it's more just so we know if we're setting too much work, we can make adjustments to the planner for next year or for later in the term. So it is important that you're honest with us on those planners.